Ani, I'm Ellie Mitchell. I'm Anishinaabe and the owner of Bead and Power Supply. Today, we're going to be making a pair of earrings from our wonderful DIY beaded earring kits. These kits are available at powwowsupply.com and they are beginner friendly. They include enough materials to make 2 pairs of earrings. Today, we're going to make this example video making the turquoise fire design. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is the contents of your kit. You have 1 bobbin of 5B thread, 2 size 11 beading needles. You have a little insert that shows you the pattern of the earring. You have this bag with findings and some large beads in it. I'll go over that in a minute. You have your bugle beads, which is the name for these long, thin beads. And then, depending on which pattern of earring you chose, you'll have a selection of seed beads. This particular set of earrings that we're making today, we have 4 colors of size 11 seed beads. Some of the earrings will have 3. It depends. So, for example, this set of rose gold earrings will have 3 seed beads in the pattern. Not included in your kit are a few tools that you'll need. You'll need a pair of beaders pliers, like this set, beaders all-in-one, or this set of mini pliers, and you'll also need some scissors to cut your threads. This is the contents, and your first step in preparing your beadwork is going to be to prepare your workspace. So we recommend using a bead mat. We do sell bead mats at powwowsupply.com. I will be using this mat that came with my camera, and it helps me know where things are. If you're in a pinch, a plate or even a paper towel will work. I have done beadwork using paper towels to hold my beads. So it depends what you have on hand and what you're able to access. So once we've prepared our flat workspace, hopefully you're not working in a car, although it is possible. We're going to take out just some of these findings. So your kit contains enough materials to make 2 pairs of earrings. We're going to start with making 1. So you have 2 of each of the following, and the rest of it we'll just put in the bag and save for later. These are ear wires. That's the part that actually goes in your ear. These little horseshoe-shaped things are called wire protectors. These rings are called jump rings. These particular jump rings are size 6 millimeter. And then you'll need 2 of the large glass beads, and these are size 6 Miyuki. That's the brand name, made in Japan, beads. And then we'll also get out some of our seed beads. Now, when you're taking out your seed bead, you don't need to dump out all of them. I know that may be very tempting, but you actually only need a few dozen at a time. So I'm just going to pour out a few of the bugle beads. A few of our red beads. And we need even less of the black, so I'm just putting out a few of these. All right, so then our next step is to remove the needle from your cardstock. These are just taped down to help keep them secure. You should be able to pull it right out. You can put your other needle aside. Then you're going to pick up your bobbin and find the end of the thread. Sometimes that can be tricky. I like to run my thumb around it. Helps me pick out the end there. You're going to need a full arm's length, so the full spread of your arms thread for this. So all right, now that we have our thread, our next step is going to be to get rid of some of this curliness. Because the thread is on a bobbin, it's pretty tightly wound, it gets really curly. What we're going to do is take one end, and with my right hand, I'm right-handed, I'm going to pull the thread tightly against that plastic case on the bobbin. And as you can see, it's sort of taking out some of the curl. This is going to help straighten it out. I'm going to do the end here a couple times. And then I'm going to do it once more, just to help a little more. And as you can see now, my thread is a lot less curly. It's going to be a lot easier to manage. Now, if you're joining this tutorial and you've never sewn or beaded before, this may be the trickiest part. You're going to need to thread your needle. So you're going to take the end of your thread and put it through the eye of the needle. I've been beading for over 30 years, and this is still something that I occasionally struggle with. Yep. All right. Like today. If you're struggling with it, something that can help is to take your scissors and just make a sharp cut there on the thread. And I'm through. All right. Once you get your needle threaded, you're going to want to pull about a foot tail, just so that your needle doesn't come unthreaded while you're working. All right, so now that we have our length of thread, just take your scissors and make a cut right there. All right, so now we have our needle threaded. We're going to take one of the size 6 beads and one of the wire protectors, and we're going to start our earring. So the first thing you're going to do is put your needle through that size 6 bead and pull it down towards the bottom of your thread. You can see I have about a 6-inch tail on the thread. Then pick up your wire protector, and with the pointy side of your needle, you're going to go up the bottom of one side of the wire protector. Oops, I dropped it. There we go. Just like this. Then we're going to pull that wire protector down so it's just above our large bead. I find it's easiest to do this next part with the wire protector and bead resting on my workspace. So I'm going to take my needle and go through the top of the other side of the wire protector. So I'm basically following this top part. And then while I have my needle there, as you can see, I'm going to go through the top of the size 6 bead. You see how it's going through both? I'm just holding my hand here so I can control the tension as I pull this. I'm going to pull this down and make sure that my thread rests. See, it's sort of resting there in the wire protector. Our next step is we're going to tie an overhand knot. So you're going to take both sides of the thread and with your little tail, you're going to make an X and come through like that. You're going to pull that down so that it hides in the big bead and make sure it's tight there. So this is the same knot you do as you're preparing to tie your tennis shoes in a bow. Then you're going to do it again. So you make an X, you come through the back side with the tail. Oops. You have that, and you pull it so that it rests in the bead. Now, you're not going to cut this. Do not cut this. At the end, we will hide that amongst our beads. So now we can get started on making the dangly portion of the earring. So this is when you take your little card and it'll give you a key to what the pattern should be. You can also reference our website or look at the little sticker that's on the front of your kit. So according to this card, we're going to start with black, red, orange, then yellow. So I'm going to pick up one black bead, one red, orange, and then yellow. I'm going to push those down so that they're right up against that large bead. Now I'm going to pick up one of the bugle beads. Again, the bugle beads are the long, thin beads. I'm going to push that down. Now, if you're a beginner, it can be difficult to pick up bugle beads like I just did, like this, if you don't have a lot of dexterity or control of your needle. It might be easier to pick it up with your fingers and then sort of put your needle in like that. Do whatever is easiest for you. This is a beginning project. We want you to be comfortable. So now we're going to follow our card, and it's a little hard to see with all the lights on that I have to make this recording, but we go with yellow, orange, red, black, and then we reverse it, red, orange, yellow, to make that sort of fire pattern. So yellow, orange, red, then a black, then red, orange, yellow. Now, depending which pattern of earrings you got, you may not need that fourth color. So for example, if you got the rose gold, then what you would do is pick up a pink, a purple, 3 gold, then a purple, and a pink. So refer to your card, it'll help you. And also, there's no hard and fast rules here. If you want to experiment a little, experiment a little. Now I have the seed bead pattern on. I'm going to pick up another bugle bead. Push that all the way down and repeat the process. You're going to do this until you have 5 bugle beads on your string. So we'll go ahead and skip ahead. You can pause, get your stringing on. So I'm going to pick up another bugle bead. And then, just like before, yellow, orange, red, black, red, orange, yellow. Another bugle bead, and then the same pattern with the seed beads. I'm just going to loop this up so you can see it's starting to take shape like an earring. We have part of a loop there. Gonna pick up another bugle bead, pick up my seed beads again. So something interesting happened here. This black bead does not want to go down on my needle. That happens sometimes. You'll get a bead with a small hole. So if that happens, you can just take it off, put it aside. Here's a little tip. If for some reason you put the wrong beads on or you need to go back down through your wire protector, what you don't want to do is go back through with your needle like this, because what can happen is you end up stabbing your thread and sort of weaving everything. So if you're able, you may be able to slip beads off your needle just like this. Or go back through the wire protector like that. If you're not able to do that, then you may have to take your needle off, pull the thread out, rethread your needle, and get started again. And you can see even more of how this is taking shape. So now we have 5 bugle beads on. This is going to be our 6th bugle bead in this loop. And now we're going to put on seed beads to close the loop. So in this pattern, we're going to go yellow, orange, red, then black. And you can push them down and see that both sides of this are matching each other. That's what we want. Again, you'll refer to the insert for your particular pair of earrings. If you're making this color, then you want yellow, orange, red, black as we come back up through. So now we are going to go through the size 6 bead, the large bead, through the wire protector, come back down, and make our second loop. So to do this, you're going to want to hold. I hold in my left hand. I'm right-handed. It's a little tricky on the first time because we haven't established the tension yet for the earring. But you can see I'm going up through the large bead and up in one side of the wire protector right there. As I wait for, yes. So you can see I'm just pulling my thread. You want your thread a little tight, but not too tight. So you don't want any thread showing, but you don't want to pull it so tight that your earring can't hang. You want like a nice dangle on it. So keep it sort of tight, but not too tight. You'll get a feel for it. Then with your needle, you're going to come back. Oh, I'll wait for it to focus there. There we go. We're going to go back down on one side of the wire protector and then into our size 6 bead. So you can see my needle has gone through one side and is coming out the size 6 bead. And note that I don't have my needle going into any of the small beads, just the big one. Pull the thread. Tighten it up a little. All right, so we have one loop done. We're going to start on our second loop. So the same as we did before, start with black, red, orange, yellow, and then a bugle bead. You're going to push that right up just like you did on the first one. Kind of take care, you want your second loop to sort of be on top of the first loop. So if you can see, it's sort of on top of that first loop. And then continue putting on your beads. Yellow, orange, red, black, red, orange, yellow. Push those down, add another bugle bead. Now, we'll skip ahead to where I have this all on. Now, as you can see, I have most of my beads on the second loop. I'm going to put the last group on so that I can go up through the wire protector and secure the second strand. So it's going to be just like we did, finishing the first loop. So I try to hold it up to the camera for you guys. We're going to go up the bottom of the big bead and then into the wire protector. So you can see there. Pull your thread. It's going to be easier the second time because we have some tension and some balance in that wire protector. Right now, I'm just making sure I don't want my strands interwoven with each other. I want them lying on top of each other like that. So then with my needle, I'm gonna come down and into the big bead. And again, I'm being careful not to pick up any of the seed beads with my thread. It's important to make sure your thread is resting there in the middle of the wire protector. Save my tail there so it's not getting tangled up. And now we'll start on the third loop. This is just like the first two. You're going to pick up seed beads and bugle beads following that pattern. And I'll go ahead and skip ahead so you don't have to watch me picking up beads. So just like on the first two loops, you're going to follow that pattern and just make sure your earrings are balanced. If you want to vary from the pattern a little bit, when you run out of beads, you can just add a few. So I'm adding now my last bugle for the third strand. I'm going to do that last pattern to finish it up. And then we're going to secure our third and final strand on these earrings. So just like before, we're going to go up through the large bead into the wire protector on one side, just like that. Pull your thread through. You see how these are all nice and balanced. They're laying on top of each other. We're going to come back down like we did before on the other side, down into the wire protector and the large bead. We're not picking up any of the seed beads with our needle. Pull the thread. It's a lot easier now because we have some tension in there. Make sure it's secure at the top. And now we're going to tie a knot on this earring. So you're going to pick up your tail and tie two of the same overhand knots that you did before. So make the X, come up through the bottom, and take that knot and pull it in so that it hides in the big bead. Now you're going to do that one more time. You want to make sure you're not picking up any of the seed bead threads as you're tying this knot. Sometimes it can be easier to sort of flip this upside down just to verify, but just like that. Now, don't cut anything yet. Now we have one last step and we're going to hide our threads. So taking my needle, I'm going to pick one of the strands starting from the top and just go down about 10 beads. Pull my thread through, make sure it's not caught on anything. And then take my scissors and trim it off closely. Then it's hiding. I'm going to take this long thread off my needle. All right, so we're going to take our tail, thread it back onto our needle, and then we're going to do the same thing to hide this end of the thread. So pick a random strand of beads going in at the top. Here's a close-up so you can see better. I go through about 10, pull it all the way through. Then I take my scissors and very close in between those beads, trim off that thread. And now we have one of our earrings. Yay! This is a good time to celebrate. Maybe get a drink of water or a bathroom break, because we're going to do that all again to make the other side. All right, welcome back from our little break. Get started on the second earring. All right, so I'm finishing up this third strand, picking up my last of my seed beads. I have thump, and it looks like when I went through on the last one, my thread was not fully resting at the top of the wire protector, so I'm just going to fix that real quick. And if you saw, I sort of loosened it and rearranged it back in the top there. Get that retightened. There we are. All right, so securing our last strand, we're going to go up through like we have previously. By now you've done this 6 times, you should be pro at it. I just want to rearrange my strands here to make sure they're not overlapping with each other. There we go. And then down through the other side. And just like last time, we're going to tie that knot. So you take your tail that you left, make the X, go under the bottom and pull tight. Do it again and make the X, go under the bottom, pull tight. Now, our last step, take your needle and hide your thread. So I'm gonna pick just a random strand of beads, if you can see better, up here. Go through about 10 of them, pull my thread, and snip it close. That just hides it. Take that thread off our needle, rethread our tail onto our needle. Ooh, and it wants to be tricky. Like I mentioned earlier, kind of cutting that thread at an angle can help make it a little pointy, makes it easier to thread that needle. There we go. So now we're doing the same thing here. Just gonna hide that tail, go through some beads, pull off our needle, and trim it. Look, now we have 2 earrings. Our final step is going to be attaching the ear wires to these earrings. So for this, you're going to need your pliers. I am using Beadsmith's Beaters All-in-One. It has a cutter, flat nose, round nose. I love this tool. It is available at powwellsupply.com. We also sell these mini pliers, which are a little cheaper. Also great for travel. Recommend those. If you don't have a pair of beaters pliers at home, you can also do this last step with tweezers or with relatively fine pliers from your toolbox. So you're going to pick up one of your jump rings, and I'll let it focus. If you can see, the jump ring sort of has this opening. So what I like to do is hold the jump ring with my left hand. I'm right-handed. Take my pliers with my right hand and sort of force that open. Now you want to open that jump ring by going forward and backward. You don't want to open it side to side because that interferes with the structural integrity of the jump ring. Opening it front to back sort of preserves that structural integrity. If we open it by like moving it side to side, that reduces its capacity. All right. So you're going to take one of your earrings and just loop it in to the jump ring like that. And then one of your ear wires has that handy dandy hole in it. And just loop that in there. You can see, oof, we'll let it focus. There we go. See how it's looped in. Now with my fingers and this, Let it focus. And I'm just going to close that so that it's even on both sides. Then, if you can see, we now have an earring. And we just do that a second time. I'll do it down here. You open your jump ring. Add the earring. Add the ear wire. And then close the jump ring. Now you can have a pair of earrings that you made. I'm so proud of you. Your kit contains enough beads to make a second pair, so you can share them with your friend or maybe your coworker or classmate, with a relative. Highly recommended. And congratulate yourself. You should be so proud of yourself.